And it's just the turnovers, the Swans, that are hurting, and the fact that at the moment the Dockers defenders can't defend the high ball coming in.
Second quarter underway, and already we can see Sandlin's get another tap, but it went straight to Goods. And eventually Smith it is that kicks Sydney forward. Duffield with his hands full down there, uses Johnson on the way out. Now Fife try and get into some space. He's had just 4 disposals so far, so not the dominance. Here's Hill's first disposal, if he ever kicks it. Deep, there's a probing ball down there for Bradley. Held his ground, but Anthony backs up well, and he knew where De Boer was. Over to Clark, not a great time to fumble. So close to goal, such a golden opportunity.
But once again, De Boer probably a better place to snap it. They're just a little bit unselfish because they've got options. It wasn't a great hand pass.
We've talked about Sydney with their bad kicking, but Freo's handballing. They've made a number of critical handball mistakes, and they are handballing more than Sydney. Here's Goods. Good tackle from Fife. Oh, Bird. They're just purple everywhere.
Oh, gee, ducked into that one. He just put the head down and charged.
He did. But you're absolutely right, Harder. The amount of handballs, and that's clearly not affected by the wind. The winds might be picking up a 20 to 30 metre kick, but it's not going to pick up a 5 metre handball. So the Dockers are really costing themselves with those short handballs that are hitting the deck too often.
It's interesting, we saw Adam Goods get the first centre clearance. Adam McPhee starts outside the square and doesn't pick him up until after that first bounce.
Really hard to do that as well.
And you look at the numbers in that contest, boys. McPhee yet to touch the ball, and Goods has been pretty damaging. He's had 7 touches.
Yes, he's had just the 2 kicks and 5 handballs, so maybe he's just limited his space, but he's certainly getting his hands on the footy. What about that for a mismatch?
Well, that was just one man getting there first. Benny McGlynn desperate to get in there, and he got down lower before Aaron Sandlin's bent down to pick up the ball. You can't blame Sandlin for that.
Sandlin's on the mark, so eventually see where his man's disappeared to. Goods. And just brushes aside McPhee. Gives it plenty. Jetta has just a little look to see where it's going to land. He can't quite get on the end of it. It's Subin for company. McFarlane's still watching Reid. Michael Johnson on O'Keefe at the moment. The danger man up forward for the Swans. These Goods come skipping through and fed Seavey. Parker works his way around onto the right boot. Reid not in the best position that time. The kick certainly didn't do him any favours at all.
And Duffield's dropping off at pretty much every stoppage, so the Swans will have to be careful of that. Either their forwards are going to have to round him up, or they're going to have to do a better job with their disposals inside 50. But McPhee, you touched on before, Jace, he's just a step behind Goods around the stoppages. He's just not a natural stoppage player, McPhee, whereas Adam Goods certainly is.
So Jack Anthony's kick went out of bounds on the full. The ruckmen are barely going to arrive for this boundary throw-in. In fact, Seavey just got there. So he got a tap down, but in the end it ends with Sandilands, who feeds Pavlich into the space of the 50. This will test everyone running back. Richards seems to have it covered, and he's got Malcheski, so he's thinking ahead already where to dispose of the footy. And Malcheski eases onto the left. And the Swans, oh, Johnson spilt it, and then had to go back in and make sure he limited the damage.
He's disappointed with himself, you can see that, but he's going to be a long-term player for the Sydney Swans. I think he's a terrific defender, Johnson. He's got speed, he's got good size. He'll get stronger as he does more pre-seasons. A lot to like about him.
Just 20 years of age, exceeded all expectations last year. Fife, no free kick. McVeigh, got McGlynn. They've certainly had some links on the way out, Sydney.
They need to work on their setup here on this side of the ground in particular, because the ruckmen are too deep. They're not getting one at the front.
He's going to create some fantastic entertainment over the years, Reid. It is a good kick because they can run back with confidence. The ball might have its own mind anyway. What a mark, and it's his 3rd goal.
He wasn't actually shooting for goal, Sam Reid, but you take him when it comes. It was a good kick. We called it because there were 2 or 3 Swans players running back towards goal. He had to get the ball over the top, and they would have been favoured. It's a terrific mark. He comes across the side of the pack, reaches over the top of Ibbotson. He's got some great hands. But the kick was actually looking for a couple of teammates that were winning the race. You can see Jetta was one of them. There's also another Swans player, I think it was Jude Bolton was the other one, but they then shepherded through.
It's a blood rule with Jude Bolton, I think. I know over the years, Brucey, we've had Plugger and then Barry Hall and Adam Goods as the marketing tool for the Swans, but Reid can just become this I mean, he can become a great attraction, can't he, to come to the SCG and watch the Swans?
Absolutely, because there's not many young players that come into the game that can catch it like that. And if he can add that goal-scoring ability to his game, he's going to be a very tough player to play on. Speaking of which,
Sandilands and the Mazunga kick took the mark, and the smart reply, hopefully from a Fremantle point of view, coming up.
While that was happening, we saw Jude Bolton go off with the blood rule. Brucey, how many years are you coaching for?
8.5.
How many times did he come off with the blood rule?
Plenty. Plenty. The famous 2005 where he had the egg wrap on the head and the helmet on in the team photos. That sums up Jude.
And Sandilands didn't look all that convincing, but it's a goal nonetheless.
And I think that's for Sandilands to take the absolute next step. That's what he needs to do. He should be able to go forward. Now, I know he does play a lot of game time in the ruck, but certainly with Clark, who's had a good start to this game, if Clark can go in the ruck a little bit more and give Sandilands a chance to go forward. Watch him here. I mean, what can Teddy Richards do?
He's got no hope.
Yeah, he's got no hope. He's such a big, strong, imposing figure. If he can keep doing that, it's a big feather in the Dockers' cap.
So the margin is 14. And Sydney, after kicking that goal, said comes straight back with Sandilands, who's still in the goal square.
Yeah, and I like that, Hutto. I'd really like to see Sandilands stay there, Jace, for maybe the next 5 or 6 minutes. Back Zach Clark in a little bit, and let's see if he can get the ball down there, one out to Sandilands.
They just made a change, and Heath Grundy's gone down there. And as a key defender too, Roosy, you don't blame them for playing behind Aaron Sandilands. You think, OK, he's probably not going to beat me on the lead too much, even though it did happen then. But you need a run and a jump to get anywhere near the height you need to spoil the ball, don't you?
Can't play him from in front, because he's just going to put the telescopic arms over you and mark it.
5. And straight back to McVeigh. The penetration is there, but this time McFarlane was able to read it. He can work it with Ibbotson. Clark pushing hard to the wing, just with a one-on-one. It's going to drop a bit shorter than that. And they got to the contest with Seaby, and he's got the footy. Main just had the arms jolted straight away. Goods. There's McPhee. 9 disposals for Goods, 6 of them contested.
And this is what I talked about before. On this members' side of the ground, the throw-ins just aren't going deep.
You're right, there's another terrific example of it. Fife. And the Swans with a couple.
Position himself well there, Matt.
Both sides seem to have those, maybe even +2. So Freo should have some extra numbers, at least one back here. But the Swans, sensing that, have gone super short. And Roberts-Thompson didn't finish it the way he would have liked, but Jetta's kick almost hitting Reid, who came bursting through. Pressure from Johnson. Now Dawson has the heat transferred back to Ibbotson.
And neither team at this stage had an ability just to hit a short target inside 50, and it's really hurting both sides at the moment.
He really kicked back into traffic, Lewis Jetta, didn't he?
And you mentioned Hutto, I think Malcheski, well, Teddy Richards off the back, so both ends there's an extra number behind, so it is going to make it hard if you just get a quick kick it out of a stoppage.
Kennedy, he forges a bit of a path. He's kicked to an area at least where it's one-on-one, even though there's more Fremantle numbers coming. Initially, at least, it was McGlynn versus Ibbotson. McGlynn was able to win it and then caught without the ball.
Has to get it there.
So it's a good victory for Ben McGlynn. And Malcheski's got a powerful left boot. He uses it to pretty good effect. Reid's in the mix again. He can do no wrong.
He is creating all sorts of problems for Luke McFarlane. McFarlane's been a terrific key defender for many years now, but this young man,
he's towering him.
He's almost growing by the week, isn't he? I thought he was unlucky not to get a free kick for being manhandled in the lead-up, but what I loved about that is he didn't play for it. He still attacked the footy and took the one-handed chest mark.
So Sydney lead by 14, and Reid, unfortunately, with confidence up, has missed one.
Old habits die hard.
He just kicked that far too hard, didn't he?
Smashed it.
Yeah, he just smashed it.
But
you're right, Jace. I thought McPhee actually given away a free kick there. He had him wrapped up and he was sort of ragdolling him a bit. But the great thing about Sam Reid, he keeps his eyes on the ball. He never takes his eyes off the football. And I think it really shocked McPhee that, McFarlane, that he marked that football.
So Duffield goes for plenty. There's a little bit of interference on Sandilands, but the umpire says it's okay.
Just a tangle of legs with LRT that took him to the ground, I suspect. He's tangled with a few people at LRT like that. He is all arms and legs.
Well, it was effective that time, and it puts them deep again. Rowan had the fly that time. Duffield just slightly ran around the ball. Allowed his opponent to get on in there, but doesn't amount to much. Parker, Rowan, who's moved pretty well. He's threatened a bit today. We're going to have the ball up.
See, it's maybe it's because one kick from the middle of the ground goes deep forward here, but the number of times we've seen Aaron Sandlands trying to get back and just be a couple of yards away. Gary Rowan had a run and jump there because Sandlands couldn't get back in time.
Well, he had that injury, didn't he, in pre-season, Sandlands, so he's probably hasn't had the perfect...
But I reckon there's half a dozen times he's pushed back, and normally on bigger grounds there's a transition kick before you get that long one forward, but from a lot of places here at the SCG, you just bomb it straight forward and he's not getting there in time.
Yeah, nice, good call. Lewis Roberts-Thompson. Gary Rowan, no one on the outlet, so he decides to kick it. Wasn't a bad effort either. Duffield just hesitated for a moment. Jack Anthony's got to go, and he knows it. What a mark.
He's got a good ride there.
He started pretty well. Jack Anthony's got involved. He certainly hasn't been in the forward line all the time. He's pushed up the ground. He's had 7 disposals.
Well, he could prove to be an important player from Hutto. Just if he can kick 20 to 40 goals, it just gives him another string, takes the pressure off Pavlich going forward all the time.
I think with Pavlich and Bradley, I mean, they're both mobile players, aren't they? So probably feel they can play that extra forward.
Yeah, I think they can.
Initially Smith, and then
really good kick.
Finally Grundy shows everyone how to kick in these conditions. Speared it into Jetta. And he can pop it over for Kieran Jack.
And this is where both teams have had trouble. Once they slow the tempo down and hit targets, I don't know whether it's the conditions, but they seem to turn this one over every time.
But Jack just goes for distance, and Duffield doesn't quite complete the mark.
Just hasn't been a lot of unbroken change, Jace, from one end of the ground to the other yet, has there?
The only couple of times we've seen that is when it's been Sydney breaking from half-back and they've been able to link up, but Freo perhaps just adjusting to the ground.
Sandilands, Kennedy. Big Sandy was off and running.
So now, even though you got Lewis Roberts-Thompson, Sandlands, what happens with the Swans? They just adjust to Sandlands, so they won't worry about Lewis Roberts-Thompson trying to win it, and that's why it's hard to get dominance for the Dockers, even though you got a dominant ruckman. You see Goods there goes into the hit zone of Sandilands.
He tried a banana then, Lewis Jetta, and he's caught it right in the middle of the pill.
That's the straightest banana of the sun.
And it went a big mongrel punch straight ahead.
So they're still in the attacking area. Woods is going to come from the side and help out. Sandland still, I think, got a hand to it, but look at the strong Sydney follow-up work. McPhee has to trail all the way back to the goal square. He was very uncertain. He went with that left foot and needed to get it as far out of trouble as he could.
That was his first possession for the day, Adam McPhee.
Subin out to the wing. Matner came in on main. Slightly fortuitous bounce, but gets the job done.
There's not a lot of fluency in the Freo play, is there, at the moment? It's all under pressure. Swans are doing a good job pressuring the Dockers guys, but not a lot of fluency at the moment.
Here's Fife. And Bradley. Pearce. Jack put the head down. Umpire knew that, so good umpiring. Pearce has a really strong tackle. Rolled him over a little. No free kick either way. It's going to be a ball. So there's Jude Bolton. To see Mazunga, but we'll see Jude Bolton, who's already been patched up from that blood rule. Fife, nice little give for Hill, but Shaw is so close to him on all occasions.
That was the classic one there, Hutto. Even though Sandler's got a really nice hit, set play looked like out to Fife, Jude Bolton was already on Fife because they're not rucking to Seavey, they're rucking to Sandilands.
No one really got a tap. Sandilands had just a glimpse. Bolton heaves it out. Shaw just had his wits about him, knew what Hill was going to do, so he got himself into the clear. So it's again, that pressure is on McPhail. It's really telling at the moment, isn't it? Reed thumps it, gives it plenty. Roberts-Thompson. And Jetta was there, and Goods and sliding across the turf.
She was a dangerous kick. Subin had to leave Jetta to go and give assistance for the spoil on Roberts-Thompson, and it nearly came over the back.
They've got any alternatives on Reid if he continues to do some damage. We'll just check that recipe for success in a moment. You can see there that the Swans are up in 2, and Freo's just using the ball a little bit better, as we suggested. Here's Bolton with the hook shot at goal. It stayed up for a while.
Well, look, you've got a couple of other options. You've got Zach Dawson, who plays key defence. You've also got Michael Johnson. So they've got the tools, but clearly Luke McFarlane's the best of their key defenders. And I reckon they wouldn't want to see Sam Reid continue to dominate him. That'll create some headaches.
Just getting back to that recipe. So Sydney are winning the ball in the contest.
Yep.
And they're tackling as much, if not slightly more, but where they're letting
the efficiency.
Just the efficiency, yeah. They still have a lead of 16 points. There's those numbers again.
It's going to be a tough day for kicking efficiency as well because of the conditions.
The more of those categories you win, the more games you win.
Here's 5 for Boyd.
He did well, and then he was off balance.
It's not going to help their kicking or their disposal efficiency.
Amazing that leading all possession getters on the ground is Alex Johnson at the moment. The youngster at half-back for Sydney's played a great game.
McVeigh, depth on the kick. Zach Dawson, a little nonchalant handball was good to McPhee, who saw some space and he knew he could keep on bouncing. They're all running away from him.
He's got no one to kick to. That's the problem. He had to go short. There's nobody deep.
Well, it went to De Boer and then out wide for Clancy Pearce.
Now John Anthony's getting back.
Looking for other options. Bradley's deep. Main comes down as well. Pavlich all way down. Bradley may have interfered. No. Here's Main. Back for Broughton. Back to Mzungu. Will someone go forward? De Boer. He will. Off the left. Not a big goal kicker. And doesn't even score.
He actually did well, Adam McPhee. Didn't panic. He had a couple of bounces. He hung on to the ball as long as he could. And then he found the short target, which bought a bit more time.
Well, with Teddy Richards and Grundy down back, with often one of them free, in round 1, the Swans grabbed 23 intercept marks against the Giants. So they are a team that have got key defenders that will read the play very well.
Reid doing some great things in the back line as well as the forward line.
You know, that was the only option, and he weighted that kick beautifully, Sam Reid.
So Roberts-Thompson pushing deep. Rowan's against Crowley, and he's got it!
Yeah, let's go back to the Sam Reid kick. You look up, and there is a 2-on-1 against you. But he had no other options. He couldn't run and carry. He was about to get closed down, but he weighted the kick so well, it gave Roberts-Thompson a chance to mark it. He did, and all of a sudden, Sydney are having a shot for goal.
And another contested mark, 15 metres out. The Swans just continue to bomb it in long, and the Freo defenders are really struggling under the high ball.
So Gary Rowan, we've seen glimpses of his talent in his short career. He puts that through.
I'll tell you what, you mentioned Hutto before, Rowan's a medium. He's grown since he's got to the... He's about 190 centimetres, which when he was drafted, I don't know what they've got him listed at, but you can see here when he goes for this football here, once he stretches up, that's a tough contest for Ryan Crowley, because I got in the lift with him the other day, and he's taller than me now, Gary Rowan. So he has grown and become a really big, powerful kid.
This is at 188 in the record.
188. Was listed at 188. Where is he? You reckon he's?
I reckon he's probably a squeak above that. I'd say he's probably 190, 189, 190.
22 points is the margin now. It's getting very, very dangerous for Freo.
Mark Seaby just held out the hand, a big fend as Sandlands came in. An obvious free kick. Well, what we are seeing in this match, though, it hasn't and won't be as high scoring as so many of the games we've seen already in this season.
Yeah, this is a tight second quarter, isn't it? 2 goals to 1. The Swans defence working overtime at the moment. Chesky feeding it out on the outside to Kennedy. Johnson takes the grab.
Well, it's very difficult for the Dockers to score at the moment. They haven't scored at all in this quarter because all their forwards are pushing up the ground, which allows Richards or Grundy. We look down the field. Richards is free again, working with Grundy. They work really well together, so it is tough for them to find an avenue for goal.
Crowley, and the problem is to bounce before anyone touched it in there. Here's an opportunity for Anthony.
And that's what the Dockers haven't done well the other end. You mentioned Sandilands, Jace, before, but even their defenders, when they're free, they haven't been working very well together, where one guy holds the fella off, and then the other guy comes third up. Richards and Grundy did that very well for the Swans.
Every Sydney player, bar one, inside the defensive 50, or bar two, as McGlynn comes on the ground.
Sandilands to Hill. Maybe he can break it up. McPhee back for Pavlich. Good time for the skipper to come on in and kick a goal, but unfortunately it's a behind. The margin sneaks that to 21 points.
We've spoken about the matchup between Adam McPhee and Adam Goods, and McPhee's only had the 4 possessions, but tell you what he has done. Adam Goods hasn't touched it for 15 minutes. That's a fair effort in the second term. Goods still sitting on 9 possessions, no goals. So if you're Ross Lyon, I think you're ecstatic with that statistic.
Kennedy marks the kick after just a moment of confusion. Goods has been able to brush off McFarlane. I wonder if there's been a change made on Reid, or Reid might just be having a rest. He's on the bench, in fact, at the moment. Jetta loops it up towards full forward. They got the numbers here, Fremantle. Roberts, Thompson and McGlynn. McGlynn just has to try and keep it in play, which he did try to do.
Again, just another balloon ball coming in, and the Dockers defenders look extremely nervous under that high ball.
So McFarlane enjoying some time with Reid on the bench, I think, goes for De Boer. But well done, Bolton. Kept it alive, kept them honest. McPhee gets it back to him, and they'll go again. Goods is coming! And he crashed into the pack. Subin. Jack was good as well. Just the human desperation for the footy on display from both sides. Big Seavey. McPhee tries to break through. He didn't do a bad job, but here's Kennedy to send it straight back in. McFarlane with the read on it. Swirly in the breeze, you know he won't take a backward step, Luke McFarlane.
And that was 2 much better efforts from McFarlane. Firstly, getting in the way of Adam Goods, just stepped in his way, and then now reading the high ball coming in.
Been quite enjoying Sam Reid being off the ground, I think, and Reid has just come back on as we speak after having a short spell.
Here's the kick out, and they do use Sandilands. Fife. Subin from the stand start, so not much science in the kick.
And not a lot, you're right, Hutto, there's not a lot of system to the Dockers play at the moment.
And that would disappoint their coach, who's pretty systematic about most things. Melcheski into the goal square on McGlynn. He can sniff out a ball from anywhere. And out to Jack. And a wandering one is dangerous for defenders. Well, Subin. Kick smothered. Goods trying to get it to his own advantage, but Mellington got in his road. But Goods just kept on keeping on, and he's centering ball. Missed the mark initially. Gary Rowan's already nailed 1 in the quarter. He hesitated, he took a bounce.
Why would you bounce it there? He should have gone with his gut instinct. That was to have the shot, and then he wanted to link up, draw, and give a hand pass, and he just didn't have the time. That's a funny bounce in the middle of 2 blokes about to tackle him.
Oh, entertaining stuff. Clark takes the mark on the way out. Freo need a goal.
That's a shank.
They've got to find a goal from somewhere.
It's a dreadful kick.
Well, they just don't look like scoring at the moment, do they?
Grundy, Rowan, McVeigh. The Swans on top in most areas now. Parker. Zungu's efforts were grand, but they've been able to chop them up again. Out to Jetta. Through to Melcheski. We know he's got a thumping left foot. And the goal umpire this time does not have to move a muscle.
But that all started from Zach Clark, I think it was, over on the far wing. He had Kepler Bradley by himself a mile in the corridor. Then we had some Dockers in front of Bradley and turned the ball over down the other way. And we had, what's here, really good kick from Jared McRae. Probably their best decision maker in terms of lowering his eyes. He recognised there was 3 Sydney Swans players, and Melcheski can be a really nice finisher from outside 50.
Decisive lead, isn't it now?
You just feel like Sydney's winning the arm wrestle. Just the tight contest, it could go either way. The couple of critical ones that have resulted in goals, they're just edging further forward. A 4-goal lead up here, it feels like a 6 or 8 goal lead in the way we've seen normal games thus far.
8 more contested possessions for the quarter. Freo getting a little bit of a run at it into the 50. May will try and lock it in there. Bradley over the top, but the Swans are going to create off half-back.
Well, again, it was a poor hand pass, Hutto, that cost the Dockers a shot for goal there.
You just don't feel like the Dockers can score unless Sydney turn it over inside their defensive 50.
Well, inside 50 is 15-7 for the quarter. 3-3 to 1 run.
They're just not getting enough ball in the midfield.
No.
You just wonder when they'll think about putting on Michael Barlow, who was a ball magnet.
Yeah.
That's a good call. Pondering that last week. Liam, as to whether a coach would be brave enough to put a sub on in the second quarter in a match.
If you pull the trigger early, you do leave yourself open.
Just so hard, because if someone gets injured.
You do, but if you're heading down the toilet with your game anyway, someone will do it sometime, surely.
Well, there's a fine line, isn't there, between being still in the game at half-time and completely out of the game.
McFarlane and Bradley, he's won the free.
I think Ryan keeps saying, it's just standing here. The arms out, and they got poleaxed.
If anything, Bradley seemed to be off balance himself and just crashed through. Here's the kick. Again, it's just this kick straight to the opposition. And now McVeigh can give Goods every opportunity, but well done.
That's superb work by Dawson. But he was one against two.
Yeah, just sloppy ball use though from the Dockers. It's been terrible coming out of the defence. And again,
it's no favours whatsoever to Broughton. That's just handball and hope. Bradley.
He'd done such good work, Zach Dawson, taking the mark, but then to try and run around Adam Goods, you put your teammates under pressure.
Half-time can't come quick enough for the Dockers at the moment. Melchersky tried to trim the kick to make it fit the situation. Again, uncertainty by hand. They just want a handball, but it's not necessarily working for them. Johnson and Subin, Reid, and it's out of bounds.
I can't remember seeing so many scrappy handballs. That one hit his teammate in the back, and there's Barlow on the bench. I'm sure he'd be loving to get on, but it is hard to put a sub on too early.
21 ineffective handballs to 12.
Yeah.
I heard the call of the umpire, not 15 with the kick, so it's still alive, and Dawson changes that.
Yeah, that's absolutely killing the Dockers at the moment. They've been out in space at times, but they've grasped some easy handballs, which has cost them scoring opportunities.
Well, I can tell you right now, boys, the vest has come off Michael Barlow. He's undoing it, so...
Okay.
Oh, you're good, Pickers. You are good.
Goods with the central ball. Roberts-Thompson!
I tell you what, at the moment, all the Swans need to do is kick it in the forward 50, because they're either marking it or they're very nervous the Dockers getting the ball out. So it's just a matter of pumping the ball in as often as they possibly can.
And it looks like Mellington, who copped a couple of heavy knocks early, is going to put the sub-vest on. So Barlow's into the game as we speak. Yeah,
Mellington hurt himself in a second collision with Reece Shaw. He was doing the bumping and came off second best.
So Roberts-Thompson to pop it through. It's done the job. And Sydney are doing a real job on Fremantle.
Yeah, look, their defence has been horrible. I hate to say that, but and the reason I say that, Jace, is because those balloon balls coming in, and you watch it here. See this, just a kick. It's just a kick and hope from Adam Goods, and one player puts his eyes on the ball. Bradley, no, I can't pick up who that other Dockers player is from the other side. Is that Ibbotson? Yeah, no. The only player with his eyes on the ball is Lewis Roberts-Thompson, and he's marked the ball. And that's just happened time and time again in the first half.
The big differences we're seeing at the moment, Sydney getting deep kicks into their attacking 50, and if they don't mark it, they create a stoppage. They're shallow kicks into the attacking 50 for Freo, and they're rebounding out straight away.
Freo have won the clearances. They won them 7-3 out of the middle. And they've won the clearances overall, but the Swans are just surging. Once Fremantle turn it over. Oh, Reid, that doesn't look good. Oh, he's down in pain with his shoulder. We'll get back to it in a moment. Jack, the ball's going to follow. Reid's on his haunches. You'll see him there in the middle of the frame. They had no one to go for the mark. Let's hope he's okay.
Well, it looks like he's maybe just winded there, because he's not holding his shoulder. That's one of those ones you worry about the AC joint there.
He's gasping for air, isn't he?
Yeah, well, that's the best possible result, isn't it?
Terrible kick.
Yeah, another turnover coming out of defence from the Dockers.
Have a look at it here. Actually copped it high on the shoulder, and that can really impact on the ribs and just take it out of you. But he's up and about and he's attacking the ball.
And Matner goes for it again with the kick in. Rowan, oh, he saw Bolton. There's Barlow, he's in the play already. The ball, and now Fife, who was so good in this game last year.
Reid's in trouble. He went for that last contest, and now he's down on his haunches, and he looks crook. He's in real trouble, Sam Reid. He's trying to fight through it, but he looks really crook.
Well, luckily for him, it's nearly half-time, so at least that'll give him 20 minutes to work on it.
Well, they need to get him off, I think.
Yeah, maybe a rib, Jace, or something. I don't know. It's hard.
He's definitely looking at his shoulder. That's what the doctor had to look at when he went out there. So they'll have an assessment at half-time, no doubt.
He's hunched over, really feeling it.
So Jetta with a big long bomb. Oh, you can hear the crowd behind. They like the look of the kick. And they love it now. Oh, the Sydney Swans. They have obliterated Fremantle in this first half. They lead by 40 points. 9-7-61 to 3-3-21. Freo with just 3 goals in the first half. And there is a lot for them to think about. We're going to catch up with Jared McVeigh in a moment, but some quick thoughts from Jason Dunstall and Paul Roos.
Oh, impressive. Sydney just impressive, dominating the contest now. If they don't get clear possession, they create a stoppage. They've just rebounded beautifully out of Fremantle's forward line. Very impressive.
Yeah, they look just harder and tougher. I guess you talk about turnovers and all the other things, but the contested ball they've been good at, but they're just getting the ball forward. They're bullying it in there. And at the moment, Freo don't seem to have any answers at all.
Well, Reid is coming from the ground. All the team all went up to him and just tried to help him. And still not sure whether it's shoulder or ribs. He still looks a bit awkward. But let's hear from the co-captain down with Liam Pickering.
Yeah, really pleasing second quarter, Jared.
Yeah, it was really good. Our forward pressure up there with Reedy was fantastic, and a few smothers, and yeah, look, that's what we're all about.
I was going to say the wind is really tricky, so ball use is important as well.
Yeah, definitely. You have to lower your eyes a lot of the time because it's blowing around, and then just through the middle, you've got to be careful. But no, we're going all right so far.
Yeah, good luck, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Liam. Jared McVeigh helping to lead the way with 16 disposals so far in the first half. Same too for Josh Kennedy. It's been all Sydney, so the locals should be happy. I think no one would have expected this margin. It's 40 points at halftime.